Are you ready to read? Let's go! One Stuck Truck, a book about counting. Have you ever been in a pickle and the tears behind your eyes begin to trickle? This is a story about my one red truck when 2 front tires got stuck in the muck. 3 ducks inspected. You're in deep trouble. 4 sloths yawned. You need help on the double. 5 cool bunnies declared, we can free your ride. Bunnies do bring good luck. 6 skunks replied. 7 flamingos flapped. Better hurry. 8 hedgehogs huffed. Better scurry. 9 newts nibbled in anticipation as the bunnies dug out the wheels, solving the situation. So the next time you're in a fix, don't give up or despair. Look around you until you find helpful hands that care. Let's Go Camping, a book about shapes. Today I'm going camping. My truck is piled high with all the shapes we'll need to sleep under the night sky. Ready? Let's go! Tents are triangles with stakes that hold, securing it to the ground when the wind gets bold. Coolers are square, cooling sweet tea, cooling the day, cooling me. Long cylinders are crackling logs to fire up and grill marshmallows and hot dogs. A crescent moon lights up the night. See the fireflies swarm and take flight. Rectangles are sleeping bags, fluffy pillows too. We're all tucked in to sleep and hear the night owls go hoo. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars. Can you count how many stars there are? Shapes abound wherever we go. See how they create the world we know. Under the Sea, a book about colors. A white buoy bobs alone on the ocean swells, but beneath the salty water, a rainbow of sea animals dwell. Let's go diving. Are you ready? I see red creatures like the octopus and crab, lurking behind red coral, waiting for a meal to grab. Orange sea glass shimmers, blinding my goggled eyes. Look closely at the anemones, where clownfish tuck and hide. The stingray flutters her wings, and the yellow sand billows, covering all except her eyes. She lays quietly below. A forest of green kelp, seaweeds and seagrass, sway with the ocean waves, enchanting a turtle lass. There, a blue whale and dolphin, best friends in the sea, twirling and leaping, they play just like you and me. If you see something purple, be curious but quick. A jellyfish will sting, and sea urchins will prick. The next time you're in the great big ocean blue, keep your eyes open. You may spot a sea creature or two. The end. Let's read a story about a duck. This This one is about the Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time, there was an ugly duckling. He was very sad because he looked different from all of his brothers and sisters. They made fun of him and called him names. The ugly duckling looked at his reflection in the water and cried, "Nobody loves me." He decided to run away from home and escaped deep into the forest. The ugly duckling wandered the forest by himself for months. Winter came, and the poor duckling was cold and very lonely. Finally, it was springtime again. One day, the ugly duckling was swimming in the pond and saw a beautiful swan. He fell in love with her instantly and wanted to say hello. But then, he remembered how everyone laughed at him, and he got scared. "I'm just an ugly duckling. How could she ever love me?" he cried. The ugly duckling thought about swimming away, but something made him stop. He decided to be brave and swam up to the swan. Just then, he saw his own reflection in the water and was surprised. He wasn't an ugly duckling anymore. He had grown up into a handsome young swan. Now he knew why he looked so different from his brothers and sisters. "I wasn't a duckling. I was a baby swan," he said to himself. He and the swan fell in love, and they lived happily ever after together in their pond. What a happy ending! Did you guess the duckling was a swan all along? Let's read another story. Let's read a fairy tale about a young girl with some very long hair. It's called Rapunzel. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful young girl named Rapunzel. She was raised by a witch who kept her locked up in a high tower with no door and only one window. For years, Rapunzel was lonely, and her only visitor was the witch. Rapunzel had the most beautiful, long, golden hair. When the witch wanted to visit her through the window, she yelled out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair so that I may climb without a stair." One day, a prince rode by when he heard some beautiful singing. He saw Rapunzel at the top of her tower. He also saw the witch calling out to her and climbing up on her hair. This gave the prince an idea. The next morning, he rode back to the tower and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair so that I may climb without a stair." As usual, Rapunzel lowered her hair, but was shocked to see the handsome young prince climb through the window. Rapunzel and the prince fell in love, and he visited her every day. They came up with a plan for Rapunzel to escape from the tower. The prince brought her long pieces of silk so that she could make a rope and escape from the high tower. Alas, it was not to be. The jealous witch saw the prince going into the tower and punished Rapunzel by cutting off her long, beautiful hair. Then the witch sent Rapunzel off into the desert by herself and set a trap for the prince. The next morning, when the prince arrived at the tower, as usual, he cried out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair so that I may climb without a stair." The witch lowered Rapunzel's beautiful golden hair down. The prince climbed up as usual, but this time he got a bad surprise. The witch pushed him out of the tower, and the prince lost his sight. For years, the prince wandered around the world, looking for his lost love. One day, he was in the desert and heard a familiar singing voice. "Rapunzel," he cried, "can it be you?" The prince and Rapunzel had found each other at last. When Rapunzel saw her beloved prince, she cried tears of joy. Her tears fell into his eyes, and he magically was able to see again. Rapunzel and her prince lived happily ever after, and never saw the witch again. How did you like that story? Did you think the prince and Rapunzel would finally find each other again? Let's read another story. Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, a king and a queen had a baby girl. To celebrate the birth of their beautiful bundle of joy, they decided to throw a party. Everyone in the kingdom was invited, including the 7 fairies. Each fairy presented magical gifts to the new princess. The first fairy gave her the gift of beauty. One by one, the other fairies offered the princess the gift of singing, dancing, playing music, and more. But the king and queen had not invited everyone to the party. In fact, they had forgotten the 8th fairy. The 8th fairy was angry and swooped into the party to deliver a most frightening gift. When the princess turns 16, she will prick her finger and die, wished the 8th fairy. Everyone gasped in horror as she flew out the window. But one fairy had not yet given her gift to the princess. Calmly, she turned to the king and queen and said, "No, she shall not die. She will fall into a deep sleep, and so shall all the court. Only a true love's kiss shall wake the princess." Immediately, the king and queen banned all needles from the kingdom. 16 years later, on the princess's birthday, she found a secret staircase that led her deep into the castle crypts. An old woman sat at a spinning wheel. The princess had never seen a spinning wheel before, so she reached out and touched it. The needle pierced the princess's finger, and she fell into a deep sleep. Her parents laid her in a bed adorned with flowers before they too fell into a deep slumber. 100 years later, a young prince stumbled upon the hidden castle, now covered with overgrown and thorny roses. He cut through the hedges, entered the castle, and found the sleeping princess. Hypnotized by her beauty, the noble prince kissed the princess. Sleeping Beauty awoke and embraced the prince, grateful the spell had been broken. Reunited with her mother and father, the princess and everyone in the kingdom lived happily ever after. The end. Did you like that story? Do you think the king and queen did the wrong thing by not inviting the 8th fairy? Let's read another story. Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Once upon a time, there lived a girl called Goldilocks. One day, she came upon a small wooden house. "I smell something yummy," she said. When no one answered her knock, she walked right in. In the kitchen sat 3 bowls of porridge. Goldilocks tasted the porridge from the biggest bowl first. "Ouch! This porridge is too hot," she hollered. She tried the medium-sized bowl. "Yuck! This porridge is too cold," she said. From the smallest bowl of porridge, she cried, "Ah! This porridge is just right." Goldilocks happily ate it all up. With her belly full of porridge, Goldilocks stretched and yawned. She walked upstairs into a bedroom and saw 3 beds. First, she lay down in the biggest bed. "Too hard," she grumbled. Goldilocks tried the second bed. "Too soft," she complained. She slipped under the covers of the smallest bed and sighed. "Ah, this is just right." Goldilocks fell fast asleep. As she was sleeping, 3 bears walked in the house. There was a big Papa Bear, a medium-sized Mama Bear, and a small baby bear. They were hungry and tired from their morning walk. "Someone's been eating my porridge," growled Papa Bear. "Oh dear! Someone's been eating my porridge too," sniffed Mama Bear. "Someone's been eating my porridge, and they ate it all up," cried Baby Bear. Papa went upstairs to investigate. Mama Bear and Baby Bear followed close behind. Papa Bear walked to his bed and rumbled, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed." Mama Bear looked at her bed and cried, "Oh dear, someone's been sleeping in my bed too." Baby Bear peered at his bed and pointed, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and she is right there." Frightened, Papa Bear whispered, "Step back, family, it's a little girl." But Goldilocks stirred and snapped open her eyes. She saw the 3 bears. "Eek!" she shrieked. Goldilocks jumped up, ran past the 3 bears, down the stairs, through the front door, and into the forest. From that day forward, Goldilocks never went into a home uninvited again. The end. Let's read another story. Have you heard the story about the magic beans? It's called Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Jack with his mother. They were very poor and owned nothing but a single cow. One day, Jack's mother made a decision. "We need to sell the cow," she said. "Jack, take the cow to the market and get a good price." Jack took the cow and headed to town. On his way, he met a stranger. The stranger said, "Don't sell your cow. Give it to me, and I'll give you some magic beans in return." Jack took the magic beans in exchange for the cow. When Jack's mother saw what Jack had done, she was very upset. She yelled, "Magic beans? What are we to do with these useless beans?" She threw the beans out the window and sent Jack to his room to think about what he had done. The next day, Jack looked out the window and saw an amazing sight. The magic beans had grown into a tall beanstalk that stretched into the sky. What was up there? Jack wondered. He went outside and began to climb it. Jack climbed so high that he was above the clouds. There he found a beautiful castle. He wanted to see what was inside and snuck into the castle. In the castle, Jack heard a deep voice say, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the breath of an English boy." Jack got scared and hid in a cupboard. He peeked out and saw a big, scary giant. The giant walked in carrying a goose and a golden harp, which he set on the table. "Lay!" shouted the giant. The goose obeyed and laid a golden egg. "Sing!" commanded the giant. The harp began to sing. The giant sat down and closed his eyes. Soon he fell asleep. Jack came out of his hiding spot. He grabbed the harp and the goose and ran away. This woke the giant up. "Fee, fi, fo, fum," he shouted. Jack began climbing down the beanstalk. The giant chased after him. When Jack reached the bottom, he ran to get an axe. He chopped down the beanstalk, and it fell to the earth with a crash. Jack never saw the giant again. With their new treasures, Jack and his mother lived happily ever after. Wasn't that a wonderful story? If you were Jack, would you have traded the cow for the magic beans? Let's read another story.